Hi and welcome to the tutorial on working with the step sequencer. There isn't too much to cover in the step sequencer since it's pretty straightforward. You add notes, you remove notes. But there are a few things that I want to show you to give you some ideas to enhance working with this tool. First, in this example, I've loaded a hi-hat sample and I've set the tempo at 115 beats per minute, and I've just drawn out 16th notes all the way across. So I'll go ahead and play that. Now this is pretty boring unless you want to give a monotonous sound straight across. But what we can do is click on the graph editor right here, and we'll adjust some of these parameters and just kind of play around a little bit. First, with the velocity, I'm just going to draw a fade in from bottom left to the top right. And then we've also got, for example, pan, and again, I'm just going to right click in the bottom left hand corner and draw it at the top right. And then next, release isn't going to do anything here. With mod X and Y, these are basically going to be your cutoff and resonance frequencies. So again, we can play around a little bit with these. And then pitch, we can draw a little bit up and down here. Now shift is something I want to point out really quick here. Basically, when you raise a bar to 100%, that represents 1/16th note shift. So what I'm going to do is just draw out these two little bars here. We'll go ahead and play that. Now we can also go into the keyboard editor and adjust the key values. Now I'm just going to randomly go through and move some of these notes around. And one of the coolest things to play around with is the slide function. We have the slide function available on the piano roll, but if you left click on this little portamento area, these little boxes, it will create a slide all the way across. So we'll go ahead and take a listen. Now keep in mind that the slide function is only going to work with samples that have a long decay. If the samples don't decay into the next beat, there won't be any effect. So we saw there how we can use the different parameters in the graph and keyboard editor to liven up our sound a little bit. As always, this will depend on your samples and the sound you're going for, so don't be afraid to experiment. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and we'll reload. The next example that I want to take a look at is going to involve using the step sequencer in multiple instances to get a neat panning effect. Now to do this, we're going to go ahead and load another sample. And I'm going to load it 2 more times. And for this example, the top one I'm going to pan all the way to the right. The middle one I'm going to pan all the way to the left. And I'm going to keep the bottom one here in the center. And then we're just going to go through and draw out notes going down diagonally. And what this is going to do is give us kind of a neat Doppler effect. As I play this example, I'm going to adjust the tempo a little bit so that you can hear how the strength of the effect is affected as we move up and down the tempo scale. Also, it's best to listen to this example in the center of your speakers, so position yourself, if you aren't already, directly in between your speakers so that you can get the full effect. So we'll go ahead and play this example. You see how that kind of makes the back of your eyeballs twitch a little bit. Something like this might be kind of neat to use for a lead up to a chorus or something. Be careful when using this though, as it might affect your mix, but it really does sound cool in headphones. The last example I want to take a look at is just a quick idea that I had where we can automate the swing control. So go ahead and delete these. And then I'm just going to load the sample in here again. And I'm just going to draw 16th note straight across. What we can do is right click on the swing slider and choose Edit Events. And then for this, I want to draw it all the way across about halfway. And then what we'll need to do is hit this record function so that it starts reading automation. And then we can adjust this tempo back up here. Okay. Something like that might be kind of cool for changing around a drum beat for a bridge or a breakdown, just to keep things interesting. And remember, this will affect everything playing on that particular pattern, so keep an eye on the other parts going at that time. Those are just a few tips for working with the step sequencer. Again, it's a pretty straightforward tool. I personally don't use the step sequencer unless I've got an idea I'm trying to put down in a hurry. I try to use the piano roll with all of my parts, as it gives me control over all my notes and I can see and adjust everything right there. As with anything involving music, there is no right or wrong way to do it. Use what feels best for you, what works best for you. I hope that I was able to give you some ideas for enhancing your projects, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.